beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Evolve with Lisa. I'm Lisa. Um, if you're new here, I don't know how they do that thing where it's like, oh, if you're new here, welcome. But hi. Today's video is going to be a little serious, just kind of like a mix of everything. I came across a couple of TikTok videos. If you know me, you know that I'm very sorry. I'm very chronically like online. I watch a lot of TikTok videos. There's just so many creators on there, or just like random people. You'll see accounts with like 50 followers, and then they'll make a video that just like blows up, and everybody's kind of like, yes, I agree, like I resonate with the video and things like that. And so the way that I'll format this video is I will insert the clips, and then I will kind of say my thoughts or my reaction and what I thought about the videos. And before we get into it, I will say that most of these videos are very having to do with like the absurdities, I guess, of life and existence and just society and the way the things are structured, I guess. I'm a big fan of topics like these. I hope you enjoy the video, and yeah, let's get into the first clip.
I just also don't understand the things that humans decide to care about. Like, I've never cared about the continuation of my bloodline. I don't know why that would concern me. Once I'm dead, I'm dead. Like, I don't know what it does, how it serves you to know that your cells are continuing through another human. I don't know. I don't give a fuck about shit like that. I feel like that is an example of humans like fight against mortality and our unwillingness to accept that we are mortal and have to go at some point, you know? And it's just like when you think about it, like I said, humans don't actually enjoy life. We just fear death. And 99% of the shit that we fill our days with is just fighting against the reality of mortality. And with that being said, why have kids? Like, I don't care how offensive that question is to people or how illogical it seems to even pose the question. I don't get the point in having children. Like, every day you wake up, whether you're an ancient human that has to fight animals and be nomadic, or you're a current day human that has to look both ways before you cross the street so you don't get hit by a goddamn car, you're always fighting against something that's trying to take you out. Why bring somebody else into that game to fight and constantly? I just don't get it. It's just like, you here against your will. Why not just rock out and do your little ones and twos and then get on to God if that's what happens in the afterlife? Like, we just be making shit more complicated than it has to be because like somebody told us that God said be fruitful and multiply, and we don't know how true that even is. I don't know. This shit weird to me. Like, I'm getting so existential lately that I'm just getting nihilistic. Like, bitch, I don't care. I'm just gonna do what I want. And having kids don't seem fun to me, so I don't see the point in doing that. But I don't think it seems fun to anybody. That's why motherfuckers is always complaining and talking about needing villages and help, and the government is doing this and that to me and my children. It's so hard, and so why have them?
Oh my god. Shout out to that creator. I think I follow her as well. That's kind of how I got to see the video. And I think a lot of the things that human beings place a lot of the things that people just really, really like, I gotta get this, and I have to make this money, and I have to get this house, this 5 or 6 bedroom house, and pay this mortgage, and I have to have kids just so that the rooms aren't empty, and I have to get married because that's just the next thing to do, and I have to get this job so that I can get a higher pay so that I can provide for my children. And don't get me wrong, if you are the type of person who is very much, that's something that you want in life, is to, do the traditional path and go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, buy a 5-bedroom property, and all those things, it's fine. But for me, getting to this point where I'm at, I like to describe it as existential crisis. And if you guys don't know what that means, that term means, it's essentially having this whole epiphany or awakening almost, where you start to question every single thing that you were born to think, do, be. And so it's like, why do I exist? Like, if I don't have if I've deconstructed all of those ideas where it's like you exist because God created you, and you exist, and then when you die, you go back to heaven and you get to see everybody else. Like, that's just not where I'm at anymore. I don't think I ever was like, because I think I've always been a naturally like inquisitive person, naturally very skeptical of certain things. I've always been like, why? But like, why though? And so I remember like growing up as well, like, back to the video talking about the kids thing. I've always been like, I would ask my aunties and even my mom, even if she sees this video, she's gonna laugh maybe. But I would ask like my aunties and my mom, I'm like, why did you guys have kids though? Like, what's the point? And obviously at the time I was asking, because I was kind of on the fence almost. Like, the idea of kids was like sort of nice to me, I guess, because I do love kids. I think they're just so precious, precious little human beings. Outside of just the idea, the concept of kids, like there wasn't any greater like reason to me that seemed justified. And so after I began to deconstruct religion and like think about my own mortality, my own existence, living in this body, doing the day to day, going to a job or, going to school if you're in school, it just the day to day to me, it just started to seem almost robotic rather than like something that people did because like there's some sort of deeper like meaning, if that makes sense. Like I think ultimately that life is kind of meaningless. I know that this is going to sound very dark or morbid or whatever. And if you're not that type of person, that's fine. But this is just my opinion, just a disclaimer. Everything that I'm saying is my opinion. Where I'm like, damn, like really? Like, so people just like live and then they just like die and then they give birth and the people who they give birth to just kind of like continue that cycle. And to me, it just seems very like bleak. And I think for the time being, right, while I'm still alive, I think I should probably spend it doing because I know that there's no like anchor, so to speak. Like I'm talking anchor in the sense of like a spiritual kind of anchor in that sense, like where most people they have this idea that, like I said, they're going to go to heaven or there's an afterlife when they pass away. I just don't think that way. I don't think that an afterlife exists. I think this is the only life that we have, and so why spend it doing things because you're programmed to? Why spend it doing things because this is what your mom said is the right thing to do, or your friends are doing? Or I think we're here, we exist. I don't really, in terms of the idea of don't you get nervous knowing that there's no with the idea that there's no creator or like a higher power. I really don't. I really don't. And the reason why I don't is just because there's so much there's so much suffering and there's so much disempowerment in so many communities, especially the Black community, especially in Nigeria where I come from. There's so much suffering. Like even with the wars that's going on right now in Palestine, I just I fail to see how there is something controlling all of this or pulling the strings, so to speak. And so the more I deconstructed, the more I kind of just let go of those ideas. And I'm kind of like, why should I be bothered if there is a creator? Because then that'll only get me more upset and more angry and more like questioning why all the time, rather than being able to just kind of say, okay, that happened based off of luck, or this happened because this was just, the randomness of life, or the absurdities of life, I guess. And so yeah, that's I think that ties into part of the reason why I'm just very, very hesitant to have children, because I know the amount of time it's taken me to get to this point where I'm at mentally, um, with my mental health and things like that. And so why would I bring somebody here? Like, put it this way: if I was given the option to say, okay, you passed away, and do you want to, continue this life or redo this life on it? Hell no.
Oh, hell no.
Hell no. Is it just me? Like once I pass away, like I want that to be the end. Like the way that I think of my mortality is when I pass away, I'm gone forever. In a weird way. I know that I'm still very young. Like I'm literally 21 as I say all of this. So it's a lot of thoughts, like I said. It's a lot of like reflections that I've gone through in building my own values, building, you know, sort of having my own idea of the way that I want my life to go. And so a lot of this programming, to me, it just seems very, very robotic. And I have a huge problem with that. I have a huge problem with the fact that human beings are born and a lot of people have kids just because it's the next thing to do. And I feel like I really, really fail to understand or be open-minded in that sense. But in general, like I don't really understand why someone would want to, at least I should speak for myself, but I don't see any reason why I would want somebody to continue that. Like I can't predict the way that my child is going to think, their outlook on life. Like I could be the most positive, extroverted, and just loves life, down to earth, and wants to discover new things. And then I could give birth to a child who just have severe mental health issues. They don't really see the point in getting up every day, going to work, And I'm talking once they're past that toddler stage and they're now like a adolescent or just trying to figure things out. Because life is hard, guys. Don't anybody that's lying to you or telling you all these things of like how you should, just be grateful, have a positive mindset and things like that. Yeah, sure. In one aspect, you could argue that and say, okay, now that you're here, though, like, might as well just see it through. You know what I mean? And so I'm just, yeah, that's where I stand in terms of the whole having kids thing. It's a lot of it just seems very, very pointless and meaningless to me. Like I came here because my parents gave birth to me, and I want to leave just by myself. I don't want to leave anybody behind. I don't want anybody to start thinking about. I don't want to have that stress of having to, do 6 a.m. morning runs. I don't really envy. I don't envy. Listen, I don't envy parents at all in that sense. Like having to wake up and, maybe your child is running a fever overnight and you have to wake them up and say, oh, like take them to the ER, or that stress, the level of anxiety and panic and just like depression that would give me. I can't. Like I see that, I observe those things in parenthood, and don't get me wrong, I do see the beautiful aspects as well. But I'm saying for me in my personal life with my lifestyle, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. I know that the pressure to parent perfectly is going to eat at me. It is going to make me feel constantly guilty, like constantly thinking, where did I go wrong? Should I have done this better, or should I have done that? And some people will say, oh no, but that's the beauty of raising kids, and that's the beauty of being a parent, is you get to make certain mistakes and figure it out. I'm not interested.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Not in, nope, I'm not interested. Um, to me, I'm just like, I will grow old eventually. Life is very finite, and so yeah, when that time comes, and I pass away someday, I want it to just be just me, and that will be the end of it. I've been talking a lot. I'm just gonna get into the next clip.
Keep in mind also, the thing that really bothers me about all these people, car insurance, credit card, landlords, fucking everybody, the utility company, the water company, they all speak to you as though you are voluntarily doing this, as though they are doing you a favor. I don't want to pay for any of this shit. I don't want to do any of this. I didn't ask to do any of this at all. I didn't ask for it. I didn't even have to be fucking alive. I don't want to do this. I don't want to pay my car insurance. I don't want car insurance. I don't want to give you my new driver's license. I don't want to fucking do that, but I have to for some fucking reason, because for some fucking reason, in order to be alive, you have to pay 20 different people $200. And you have to keep reciting random digits of numbers. Everything about being alive is just fucking numbers over and over again. Important numbers for this, important numbers for that. You gotta type in this password, you gotta type in this number, you gotta type in this thing, and if you get it wrong, you're gonna go to jail.
Oh my god, that's another video where I was like, listen, I have gone through so many phases where I am just like, what is the point of this? Like, why are we doing any of this? This is a capitalist system that is going to constantly profit off of you. They want to keep you in debt, so they keep making more money off of you. Student loans to credit cards to furniture debt to Klarna and what's the other one? And Sezzle and all these things, where I'm just like, what kind of what kind of world are we living in? I fail to understand how most people are so happy-go-lucky about certain things. I don't know. Either I don't know, they're asleep, or I and I'm not trying to say this to be rude either. I'm just like, a lot of the things that like we see as just so normal and so like, it doesn't really matter, but like, what are we gonna do though? And that's fair, like, what are we gonna do when the majority of the world is still under the blanket of religion, and pray and things are going to get better, and go to church and you'll feel at peace with yourself. And again, like I said, that's fine. If it's what works for you, that's what works for you. But I'm just like, we have all we need on this earth to make a better world, to make for humanity to be better. And this is what we make of it. Really, really, I just, this life, man, this life. So yeah, that's where I really, really fail to understand why I should be bringing any children here to suffer and to sorry. I don't there's no other way I can describe it because it is suffering. It really is. Like you will work and you come back from work, you buy your groceries or you buy this or you pay for that, internet, Wi-Fi, all these things. And then you come back home and then maybe something happens, right? And then you have to pay for something. I don't even know. Like emergencies can come up, all these things. Like life is so unpredictable, so uncertain. And I understand that thing where you can't really control everything, right? You're really not in control of like a lot of things in life. And I understand why some people are like, you know what, I'm just gonna surrender to God or a deity or anything like that. But I'm saying for me, as somebody who thinks critically, as somebody who is very aware of the way life works, this is all a game. This is all a game. It is a game. It's literally a game, a totem pole, hierarchy, and a lot of people who still think I see online sometimes where people are like bragging about how, oh, I'm gonna make like 5 million or $10 million by the time I'm 24, and I'm gonna do this by the time I'm 30. That's fine. I'm happy for you guys, but the average person, that's the trick that capitalism wants you to think is that everybody is going to, as long as you work hard enough, you're going to be a millionaire someday, and or a billionaire. You're going to be like Steve Jobs if you just work hard enough. I'm just like, the average person isn't really going to see that much amount of money in their lifetime with the way this economy is going, with the way life is going, with the way expenses are. I i fail to see how people are so willing to constantly participate or like one up each other or like do this whole comparison thing. Excuse me, do this whole comparison thing where they're like, "Oh, I just bought this car, like my new whip is like this," and yeah, I think those things, those human games, as I like to describe it, those human games, where people one up each other and say, "Oh, have you gotten this now?" And I got this because I can ride this new whip to my job, and everybody's gonna look at me like I've made it, and things like that. I'm just like, that mentality is just so insane to me because one day, at the end of the day, everybody is going to pass away. Like I don't understand. I don't know if people don't think. Like I don't. And I know, okay, you can justify it and say, while you're here, why don't you just make all the money you can and blow it all and spend it all and go to the club and do this and ball out. The things I want to be using my the things I want to be using my money for is finding a way to exit this system. I have no interest in being trapped in that cycle of you make money, you spend it, you owe some, you pay back the debt, you start again, and you make the money, and you do this, and it's too much. It's too much. I want to be able to make money to liberate myself. And liberate in the sense that, like, I want to be able to go off the grid. That's my ultimate dream. That's my ultimate dream. And so, and I'll get into how I'm hopefully going to try to achieve that for myself. Because I'm not interested. I'm really not, like, this whole city suburban life, give birth to kids and have this and do school runs and repeat again, and you pass away and then your children then have their own kids. Meaningless to me. It means nothing. It really really means nothing. And so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I just want to be able to make just enough. It's not like I'm hustling and I have this gig and I have three jobs and I'm going from one overnight to the other. At least I'm fortunate enough in that sense where I can help it. But that's my ultimate goal in life. And all this to say, like, yeah, it's like I said, it's a game. Um, you come into this world, nobody really asks to be here. Um, and so you're kind of just like figuring life out. Nobody really sees your quiet times, the times that you're really, really, really struggling with certain things. Like, sure, you can get help. Sure, you have, your loved ones there to kind of, tell you a word of kindness or maybe assist you in some different ways and not support. Don't get me wrong. I have a very, very beautiful, very loving friends and family. But at the end of the day, I know that certain things, like my life is my own ultimately, and I can't really depend on so many of these other external things, and I can't really depend on what it is that other people are telling me that I should do to feel validated and to live this life and to say that, oh yes, I've actually lived a life because I went to the bank to get a mortgage and I got this new 2025 vehicle that I still have to pay back in bits. And I think it's not a great way to live. The little time that we have to spend, and nobody knows when they're going to pass away. Nobody knows when they're going to leave this earth. That is just the reality. No matter how much everybody wants to predict it, no matter how much everybody wants to say, oh, if I eat this particular thing, if I stay on this specific diet, I'm going to live long. Like, sure, there's research and science and all these things, but ultimately anything can happen any day. And so I want to be able to live a life that feels true to me, that feels authentic. It's not because society said that this is what should validate me as a person. It's not because culturally this is what I should be doing and should not be doing. Those things are very exhausting. And I think over time, it starts to wear on the mind. Like when you really sit with yourself and when you really think to yourself, like, is that really something that's bringing me fulfillment? When I'm on my, deathbed eventually, like I don't want to be thinking about, oh, like I should have done this. And I know that, a lot of people will say, oh, but you will definitely regret, you definitely think back and see that you really should have been a parent, or you really should have been more religious than you are. I to put it plainly, I don't care. I think the things that I would be worried about is, did I really, really connect with my own self? Did I really live a full experience in this life on my own? I can't place that on external factors, even kids, even a husband, even this, even a car, even a house or property that I built. I can't place my happiness on those things, or my identity around those things. I have to be me as a person. Like I had to sit down and ask myself, like, who is Lisa? Like, what do I want? What do I see myself doing in the next 5, 10 years down the line? And so, yeah, re-strategizing, rebuilding my whole life, rebuilding my whole identity, the things that I thought that I wanted a couple of years ago, very boring to me now. Very, the thought of it is just very boring. And I'm thankful that I did not go down that route. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today and saying the things that I say, having the opinions that I have. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share in this video today. If you are like me, and if you do relate and you find just the things that society places so much value and emphasis on, I'm not saying those things are bad, once again, as a disclaimer, but I'm just saying that if you are like me and if you think like me and you've been through the whole existential phase, I'm still in it technically. Technically, I think there's certain answers and certain mysteries of life that we'll never really figure out. Um, and so that's kind of where I stand now. That's my opinion, and I will get into so many other topics as time goes on. And because I really enjoy talking about these things, I'm so passionate. I'm sure you can tell. There is more to me though. Like I like to think I have a good sense of humor as well. So there will be some, lighthearted topics as well, not just very heavy things that have to do with life and existence and mortality. But today I just felt a sense of like, oh my God, let me just come on camera. I'm filming on my MacBook, by the way, because I'm just like, why? I have a MacBook, it has a camera. Why the hell not? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.